Brandy, so how do you balance, being a mother and being a financial coach with World Financial Group?
That word is so interesting because I think as women, we try to always make sure everything's balanced and everything's put together. But in reality, you take it one day at a time. Sometimes there are things that need more attention
Absolutely.
than others, right? There's some work days where we got to order pizza. You know what I mean? I didn't get a chance to cook dinner. And so it's prioritizing what's most important and then just tackling it. Because, sometimes we can get overwhelmed with all of the things that we have to do. And the truth is,
absolutely,
everything doesn't have to get done right when we think. I mean, some stuff does. Some stuff, and you can speak to this too, because you're a mom, you're a wife, you've got a business going on as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I'm one of the ones that try to get everything done. And, my husband's always telling me, babe, it's okay. Everything's not going to get done. It's fine. The laundry's fine. We'll get it on the weekend. Shamir, he didn't go to bed on time. It's fine. Yeah. And, I freak out so much because I try to keep a stable routine for everybody so that, we don't get agitated, we don't get irritable, we don't get angry, we don't create this energy within our home to where now we're all bickering and fighting each other every day.
And that's the key. I think you just touched on is the key is that nothing else really matters except your family.
Absolutely.
And when you destroy the family dynamic because you've got a meeting or you're trying to just, focus on things that really aren't the most important, that's when the balance really falls out. Because if you and your spouse aren't on the same page, that throws the whole family off of whack.
It does. It does. And you have to learn how to put things aside, from priority things to things that are not so much of a priority. So being a teacher, I know that I have to do lesson plans every day. I know I have to do this at work every day. But on the weekend, I'm mommy.
Yep.
I'm not going to be teaching. I'm not going to be sitting in my home doing lesson plans, or my son is saying, "Hey, mom, come on, I want to play outside." I have to put that aside because he needs my attention and my focus, just like everybody, all the students that I work with and families that I serve.
Yep. And
so.
I was just having this conversation yesterday with somebody because we were talking about the guilt that we feel as mothers when we're at work. You feel guilty because you're not with your kids, and then when you're with your kids, you're feeling guilty because there was something else you were supposed to do for work. And just letting that go, letting it go and realizing that everything's gonna unfold the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And proper preparation prevents poor performance. So if you're prepared, you're able to go with the flow because you've already kind of thought through how your day is going to look, how your week's going to look, how your month's going to look. And it takes that pressure off of having to be so perfect all the time, I think.
And nobody's perfect.
Trust me.
Far from it.
Trust me.
And that's a whole nother topic, as women, having a double standard of trying to be perfect, trying to be the women that we see in movies, and knowing that they are acting. This is not real. This is not live. This is not a mom, on a daily basis. There's so much going on. And so we have to keep that in mind, that we're not going to be perfect. Yeah. If my son wakes up in the morning, he's smiling at me, he's like, "Mommy, I love you." I'm like, "Baby, I love you too." And we're going to get through this together, and we're going to conquer the world. That's right. And I say we're just going to take it a day at a time, a step at a time. As long as you're being successful with something small, I'm going to cheer for you. Even if it's just learning your multiplications, guess what? Mommy's cheering for you.
That's right.
And so, and I'm not going to expect him to be perfect at all either, because I make mistakes, and I'm a adult. I'm a grown adult, and I make mistakes, and I have to look at the mirror sometimes and say, "You know what, Brittany, you're wrong. I didn't have to yell at him that way. Brittany, you're wrong. I didn't have to treat that person at the grocery store that way." I have to check myself, and I think the more that we do that, we're able to balance everything that comes in front of us.
That's exactly right. You said it so well.
Well, thank you. You said it absolutely well, too. I mean, we have so much things in common.
And the thing is,
Welcome back, ladies. We had to take a quick break to take care of our kids. But I wanted to sit with Brandy and talk to her about role models in her life, because we all have them. So, Brandy, what role models do you have around you that give you positive influence?
That's an interesting question, because I think most people, when you ask them about their role model, they think of someone famous or someone that has all this clout. But to be honest with you, for me, my dad was my role model. He was a single dad for most of our life. He ran his own business. Just a little bit of background, I'm mixed race, so my father, a second generation from Sweden, and my mom's mixed with black and white. And so, you know, being a single father to two black kids in the 80s, I can't imagine what he went through. But he was always had a smile on his face, always worked hard, taught us values. And all the way up to the end, you know, Brittany, my dad was diagnosed with ALS back in 2010. And before that, he had always been healthy. Always healthy. I mean, up into his 50s, he could do a handstand and just very physically fit, very athletic. And it came out of nowhere. And for anybody that doesn't know, ALS is incurable. And it's not a good prognosis. It's a very quick kind of a disease that progresses really quickly. All the way up to the end, my dad used to crack jokes. He ended up being in a wheelchair. And he said, I'm going to be the world's first sit-down comic, right? You know, stand-up comics. And it's like he just always was making jokes and always was strong and always wanted to do the right thing. And he's my role model. And now it's interesting because my husband came into my life shortly before my father passed away. And I feel like he's kind of carried on that legacy of strength and overcoming. And my husband's an immigrant to this country and has created an incredible life for himself and our family. And those are my role models. And you'd think I'd be picking a woman, and there are many wonderful women in my life, but if I'm honest with you, what has made me the woman that I am today have been some of the men in my life.
That's amazing, Brandy, and you know, thank you for sharing that, because I know, you know, you're a very personal person, and it takes a lot for you to share your story, and I appreciate that. You know, I have role models as well, and you know, just hearing why your father's your role model, you know, it's empowering and it's inspirational.
Well, thank you for making me feel comfortable enough to even open up. So thank you, Brittany.
So I know a lot of women are probably wondering, like, you know, what should I expect from Brandy when I meet her to talk about my finances? So what should women expect when they meet you for the first time?
That's an excellent question, and honesty. Okay. Because the truth is, we have to change our mentality if we're going to change our financial situation. Unless you were raised up in a family where you were taught about the importance of saving money, you were taught about the importance of sacrificing and not being a consumer. We live in a very consumeristic society, and you know, it takes a lot to change that mentality. So I like to start with a conversation about where somebody is right now, maybe what their background is, what their relationship to money is.
Right.
And then we move forward to education, because it's really financial literacy that's lacking in the country, and understanding basic concepts for how money works. You know, people get mad when they say the rich keep getting richer. Why? We all have access to these tools. Many of us just haven't chosen to utilize the tools that are already out there. And so it's working on that mindset first, and then just teaching them some of the basics. You know, my husband and I, just a few short years ago, were struggling heavily. Why? Because we both had gone into business for ourselves. We had kids. We moved all the way across the country to Florida. And we didn't see the inside of a restaurant for years. You know, I'll hear people say, I want to save money, or I want to start preparing for retirement, and yet they're getting their nails done, and they're going shopping, and you see them with a Starbucks cup, and they're out eating. And that just goes to show you that it's a mentality shift that has to happen. So really, you know, I have a low pressure approach when it comes to sales and selling financial products. My passion is educating people on how to empower themselves and change their mindset surrounding money, and then we can start teaching them the habits and
Yeah.
the great financial tools. So I know that was a long answer.
What advice, if you can give like 2 advice tips for women and girls out there, what advice would you give them?
So we touched on this a little bit earlier, but I would say it starts with you. It starts with us. So taking time every day to get focused on your goals, your affirmations, your personal peace, first thing in the morning. And then you may look at a couple goals that you have for the day, week, or month. And make sure you're focused. We live in a world of distractions,
Yes.
right? Turn the TV off. Just turn it off. And get focused, because if you're not where you want to be right now, you literally don't have time for anything else. And so my advice would be to woman up and get focused, because you can have anything you want in this life if you're willing to get clear on what it is, put together a plan to achieve it, and then stick to the plan. You can have it all. So that's my advice.
You're so inspirational.
Thank you,
It's
Brittany.
amazing.
And I wish I could take credit for this stuff, but I've been working on personal development for 15 years now, because I'm hard-headed. It took me a while, and I did not start out like this. So like we mentioned, we were living by default. So
Yeah.
I'm just grateful to be where I am now, and I'm not anywhere close to where I want to be in the future, but at least, we've started that journey.
That's amazing. So we're gonna, I know you have a lot to do, and I've taken up so much of your time, and I appreciate you being here. And I just want to wrap up with giving you 5 financial tips.
Okay, 5 financial tips. Here we go. The first thing is sacrifice.
All right, sacrifice, ladies.
What are you willing to give up to go from where you are to where you want to be? And I'm talking about, because this is financial,
Right? Correct.
So
Financial.
you got to give up something to get something else. So
if it's
is
the
it
hair, the nails,
hair? Listen,
out
I
to
haven't
dinner?
seen the inside of a salon in years. I had to just learn how to do it myself.
I did.
We were just laughing earlier about our nails, right? I haven't had my nails done. I try to get a pedicure every now and then, right? But you've got to be willing to sacrifice something. Whether it's, if you go out to eat quite a bit, maybe one week you don't go out, you take that $100, you put it to the side.
Absolutely.
Because first it's sacrifice, then you need to start saving. One of the biggest problems in our country is that people don't save money. And there's many different ways that you can do that, but you have to start. If you don't start, you can't increase your savings. I hear a lot of people say, I don't have the money to save right now. Well, do you think if you can't save $1 out of 10, that you're going to be able to save $1,000 out of 10,000? Probably not. It starts with that $1. And so you got to sacrifice, you got to save, you need to see a professional, because we try to do all of this on our own, right? But here's the thing, when our car breaks down, we go to the mechanic.
Yes,
when we
do.
have a toothache,
we go to the
we
dentist.
go to the dentist. But when we're struggling financially, we just feel like we can figure that out on our own. You got to see a financial professional. And by financial professional, I mean somebody that's not captive to just one type of product. You need to see somebody that is unbiased, that can share all the information that's out there with you. And then you need to, so after you've seen a professional and put together a plan, stick to the plan. Stick to the plan. You will not ever regret paying yourself first. And that's what saving is. It's paying yourself first. Before you pay everybody else,
Pay yourself.
Right? Pay yourself. And then the last thing that I would say would be that you need to see yourself where you want to be. So a lot of people can't even imagine having $100,000 in their bank account or their savings, whatever type of vehicle they're using. If you can't see it, you'll never be able to achieve it. And
Absolutely.
I grew up in a family where, on my mom's side of the family, money was not something that we liked. We talked bad about people that had money, right? The rich people. It wasn't something we had a good relationship with. And so I've had to completely change the way I see myself and the way I see money. It's just a tool, right? It's not everything, but it's right up there with oxygen. I've never gone out to eat at a restaurant and then paid them with love, right? They always want to see your debit card or your credit card, right?
Absolutely.
And so we have to utilize money as a tool. You've got to be in control of it. You've got to improve your relationship with it. You've got to get serious about what your financial goals are. You got to stick to the plan, and then you'll look up one day and say, "Wow, it works."
Right, right.
So I hope that answers your question.
It answers it perfectly on the head, and you know, women out there are going to be so thankful that they got to get some of your advice, and they're going to be reaching out to you. So if you could tell them where they could reach out to, your email, your phone number.
Excellent. Yes, please feel free to email me at bfernandez.wfg @gmail.com. I'd be happy to sit down with anyone that wants to have a conversation, and I'll give you my phone number to post. But truly, it's just about starting a conversation, and it doesn't mean you are where you want to be right now. It means you're ready to start. You're ready to change that mindset and start building for the future. And so thank you for this opportunity just to start the conversation. You know I love you, girl, and I'm happy to be a part of this show. And if there's anything that I can do to help any one of your viewers or people that you work with, I'm happy to be able to help.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for tuning into the Wondrous Woman Talk Show. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Until next time, stay wondrous. You're so awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.